Hello, this is Sophia Stieber, and this is Feminism Throughout Ancient Greece. How do women fight misogyny throughout ancient Greek myths? First, I want to explain the theme and define feminism, which is the advocacy for women's rights on a basis of equality for the sexes. How are women treated by society in ancient Greece? Gender roles were deeply intertwined in societal norms and cultural practices. Men held primary positions of power and authority both in public and private spheres. Women were meant to be the housewives and expected to bear as many children as they could, which made it very difficult to rise in society. What was the impact of these feminist ideas on mythology and society? This allowed for reinterpretation, which re-examined mythological figures beyond traditional patriarchal expectations, and therefore dismantled the patriarchy, which was the power and authority that was predominantly held by men. Also, it allowed for mortal women to be looked at in alignment to the Olympic goddesses. And finally, heroines versus heroes. Women faced problems that stemmed from their gender, while heroes just got to go out and fight cool monsters. There was large amounts of ancient evidence of many myths that either provide verification of the misogynist nature of ancient Greece or shine light on those who broke free from this idea. There are also artifacts that give insight to this theme. Circe in the Odyssey was portrayed as a witch or sorceress rather than a goddess known for her magic abilities. By referring to Circe as such, a negative connotation gets attached to her name because many associate witch or sorceress with evil. Men also begin to fear powerful women because they think that they can fight back. It is seen from Circe's eye that men who are unwelcome and uninvited to her island may be seen as trespassers, which gives her the right to defend herself. She ended up turning the men into pigs, so she is portrayed as a monster who simply turns men into livestock for no reason, but this is simply a reflection of the misogynistic point of view perpetuated throughout ancient Greece. How does Atalanta the huntress fit the theme of feminism in ancient Greece? To begin, Atalanta was the opposite of the ideal woman in ancient Greece. She became strong, powerful, independent, and fearless because she was abandoned on a mountaintop at birth by her father, which means she grew alongside bears and hunters. At the time, she was not what was looked for in a wife by a husband. They wanted somebody who was obedient and stayed at home providing for the household, yet Atalanta did not want to be defined by a man's desires. She followed her heart and grew to be as muscular as some of the other heroes in Greek mythology. The Venus de Milo is a statue. The Venus de Milo is a statue of Aphrodite, which is many times only seen as the goddess of love and given no more thought. By reducing her to this limited idea, what she represents loses value. In this sculpture, her body is reclaimed from the male gaze because she does not represent the idealized male fantasy. Instead, the sculpture embodies a powerful and confident female form that many women can view and feel a sense of pride. There's nothing sexual in nature about her pose, and the sculptor also decided to depict Aphrodite with fuller hips and around her belly, which challenges standards promoting perfection. By fighting against these stereotypes, the sculpture applies to both ancient Greece and the modern day. The Temple of Hera also shows the misogynistic viewpoint of ancient Greece because Hera also falls victim to the same phenomenon that Aphrodite experiences, in the sense that she is simply remembered as the goddess of marriage or the wife of Zeus. If she were not married to the king of the Olympians, many would brush her aside, simply because she does not rule over something filled with aggression and strength. Hera is always constantly connected to Zeus instead of seen as her own individualistic person, which is also how wives in the mortal world are seen. Anytime she stands up against Zeus and his cheating, she's portrayed as a typical jealous wife. Also, every single temple that she is given is not as grandiose as Zeus because she is not seen as important. Why does it matter to study feminism and misogyny in ancient Greece? It gives us an understanding of historical context. Exploring feminism in ancient Greece provides insight to the historical roots of gender inequality and the ways in which patriarchal structures have shaped society over time. It also allows us to reclaim women's voices by studying texts, artifacts, and other sources from ancient Greece that are not clouded by the patriarchal view. We also challenge traditional interpretations because many texts were written with a man's brain and therefore do not fully understand how women were treated throughout ancient Greece. And it further promotes gender equality. Ultimately, studying what women's conditions were like in ancient Greece contributes to the broader goal of promoting gender equality and challenging discrimination and oppression based on gender. Thank you for listening.